So, hello again, Mr. Rashid Al-Ayashi and Mr. Rashid Aid-Daoud and Professor Najla Idrissi. You can start the session of computer science.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Gusker. Hello, dear authors and participants. I hope you and your family are in good health. Welcome to be with us at the sixth edition of the International Conference on Optimization and Application. In this session, we have 5 presentations. The first presentation is fast Markovian images segmentation, which will be presented by Mariam Ammar. Mariam Ammar, are you here?
Listen me.
Okay. The second presentation is optimization of aircraft operations on airport surface, which will be presented by Yassine Dabish. Are you here, Mr. Yassine? Mr. Yassine Dabish, are you here?
Monsieur Ayashi, il est là, mais je pense que c'est 12h45, ou bien non?
Yes, okay.
Okay, je l'appelle. Hein? Okay.
Okay. The third presentation is static route optimization for waste collection in Mecca City, which will be presented by Abdullah Al-Wabili. Are you here, Mr. Al-Wabili? Mr. Wabili, are you here? Not yet. The fourth presentation is the similarity measure for community discovery in dynamic networks, which will be presented by Khawla Asmi. Miss Khawla Asmi, are you here?
Yes, are you? I'm here.
The last presentation is segmentation and classification of cervical cancer, which will be presented by Ishraq Kholki. Are you here, Ishraq Kholki?
Yes, sir, I'm present.
Okay. In order to make our session a success, I would like to ask you to follow a few guidelines. First, the presentation must be in English. Second, the time allocated for each speech is 15 minutes, including questions. Indeed, you have a maximum of 12 minutes for the presentation and 3 minutes for the question. The choice of the best speaker is based on four criteria, which are scientific contribution, English and respect for time, interactivity, and questions and answers. Please disable your microphones unless you are the presenter and during questions. Finally, have fun and enjoy this scientific event. Now, we start with the first presentation. Mariam Ammar, you can share your desktop and start your presentation.
Yes, sure, of course. It's clear?
Not yet.
Okay, wait please. Now?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, I go to show the full screen. It's okay?
Yes, you can start.
Okay. Hi, today we are going to present a work about fast Markovian image segmentation. Let's show the outline of this presentation. We began by introduction. We present hidden Markov chain with independent noise model, our proposition, experimental results. Finally, we close by conclusion. Hidden Markov model is a stochastic model that contains two processes, an observed process Y and a hidden process X. It is used in many applications of image processing, for example, segmentation, classification, and recognition, and another application of image processing. In Markovian segmentation, we consider that the observed process is the image to be segmented, the input image, and the hidden process X is the image result of segmentation. We have an example here. The first figure represents the image to be segmented, the input image represents the set of observation. And the next figure, we have the image result of segmentation represents the hidden process X. Segmentation with the hidden Markov model, we have two categories. We have a stationary categories, hidden Markov model, and a non-stationary hidden Markov model. In this work, we have used the classical model, stationary model, hidden Markov chain to segment image, and we propose an approach to reducing the execution time of this model based on the technique of divide and conquer. Our approach consists to take the input image and to divide this image into n blocks of same size. Each block is executed independently to another block, like an independent hidden Markov chain. Chain model with independent noise. Z is a hidden Markov chain model with independent noise if it satisfies these three conditions. One, X is a Markovian chain. The process X is a Markovian chain. Two, the observations are conditionally independent to X process, and each observation depends only on its hidden states. This model has two laws of probability. A law of Markov chain X, of process X, is a Markov chain, and a law of observation. And each law has its parameters. The hidden process X parameters are the initial law and the transaction matrix. The observation parameters, in our case, we have used the Gaussian law. So our observation parameters has two parameters, the mean and the variance. Excuse me, mean and the variance. Here we present our standard approach. This is an approach that we have followed in this work. We take image in the phase of parameters initialization. We have initialized the initial configuration of X0 using Kami's algorithm, and you initialize the parameters of each process. In the phase of iterative estimation phase, in iterative estimation phase, we have used OM. OM proceeds as in two steps. Step one, calculate the probability of forward, backward, marginal a posteriori, and conjoint a posteriori using Baum-Welch algorithm. And in the step two, we estimate the parameters of each process. We OM repeats these steps until convergence. After convergence, we have used the criteria, Bayesian criteria and PM, and the final decision phase. In this phase, we consist to estimate the final configuration of X process, and finally we obtain the image result of segmentation. Our proposition, the main idea is to take the observation, the image to be segments, and to divide this image into n block of some size, and to solve each block independently. After that, we take each SIB solution, and we combine them to build the solution, the final global solution. We have applied here, we have applied our approach. We have applied the standard approach in the standard approach for each block of our approach. We take the image, we divide the image, we apply the standard approach. After we take each final SIB configuration of each SIB block, we take this block and we combine that to build the final configuration of X that represents the image results of segmentation. Visual results. We have used the model hidden Markov chain to segment some gray level and color image of large size. We have realized 4 experiments. The following table summarize the condition of each experiment. We have experiment 1, 2, 3, 4. In experiment 1 and 2, we have segment a color image. In experiment 3 and 4, we have segment a gray level image. And we have the size of each image, the number of blocks, and the number of classes. Here we present the segmentation results of experiment 2, visual results. We have a color image here. We initialize the configuration X0 of our process using Cummins, and we have the initial approach. This is the standard approach that we have present, and our approach after dividing. Also, we present here the experiment of experiment number 3. Here we have a gray level images. Visually, our approach and the initial approach give the same results of segmentation. But for evaluate that and confirm that, we have calculated some measure of quality such as error rate, PSNR index, SEM index, Checker index, and DICE index in each experiment for each approach. The table 1 represents the error rate value of each approach by experiment. The table 2 represents the PSNR index value, and the table 3 represents the SEM index value, and the table 4 represents Checker index value. Finally, we have the table 5 represent the ICE index value. From the value of each measure of quality by each approach in each experiment, we can remark that these values are equal. That confirm the visual obtained results. Okay, but our objective is to reduce the execution time. For that, we have calculated the execution time of each approach by experiment. The following graphic represents the execution time of each experiment, each approach by second in each experiment. We can remark that our approach has reduced the execution time, and we have estimated this reduction by 40% comparing to the original approach before dividing. And we can conclude that the execution time of hidden Markov chain in an application of image segmentation depend on some factors. For example, size of image, number of membership class, type of image, color or gray level, and some factors. For example, CPU, microprocess speed, and the capacity of memory. Our approach gives the same results of segmentation, the same level of complexity, a linear complexity, as the original approach, a complexity of memory data, and a fast running time than the original approach. it gives a non-correlation results. In this work, we have proposed an approach to accelerate the execution time of the model hidden Markov chain using image segmentation based on divide and conquer technique. From the results, we can conclude that our approach gives the same result of segmentation, fast execution time, and same level of memory complexity. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Miss Mariam
Thank you
Hammoud,
sure.
for the
Thank you for
respect for time. Now we pass to the questions.
Okay.
Mr.
I
Yashi,
go to super.
Yes.
okay, thank you for your explanation and your presentation. I have a question or
Okay.
what is the value of your work compared to the work of Mr. Kwan 2012? I think there are a work in 2012. He spoke about the same idea.
I don't have any idea about that, but me, I have looking for find many approaches to reduce the execution time. Among that, we have the technique of divide and conquer, and we have the parallelism technique, and another technique to optimize the execution time and the complexity of memory of each method. Just that.
Okay, it is the same work of Mr. Kwan Wong in 2012 with the same picture, with the same example.
Picture?
With same example, with the two referrals in MATLAB.
Yes. Miss, I don't remember the name of this person. Here, just me, I took an example, okay? Me, I use hidden Markov chain, and the Mr., I don't have the name, use the file hidden Markov chain, okay?
Okay.
Just here,
okay.
I put an
other
example,
question?
okay? Just an example to...
That's clear. Okay, that's clear.
Okay.
What's other question?
Same, or there is another person?
We wait if there are other participants.
Okay.
No question. I give a question, Miss Mariam.
Yes.
In the literature, we have many approaches which can use to segment a picture.
Yes.
But my question now: what's the advantage for your approaches?
Hidden Markov chain is very robust because he take into account the image knows it. Okay, we can hidden Markov model in generally is a robust because you can use this model with the noise images, and we can give the better results. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Hidden Markov model can restore the image, take into account the noise in the image. Okay.
Thank you for presentation and your answers. We pass now to the second presentation.
Mr. Rashid?
Mr. Yassin Dabashin. Mr. Yassin Dabashin, are you here? Look, we pass to the third.
Hello, sir.
Mr. Rashid?
Yes?
He's connected, but he doesn't respond.
I am talking. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you start your presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Please share your desktop and start your conversation.
I am just
Your own
opening,
presentation.
I'm opening the
Yes.
presentation. I hope you will see it very soon. So, Honorable Jury, may I start by giving my sincere thanks to my supervisor and the team of laboratory. So this work is about the optimization of aircraft operations on airport surfaces. So the aim of the research is the study presents the elaboration of an airport surface simulator using the output data of a first-come, first-served planner to simulate the movement of these aircraft on the surface. Different scenarios of conflictual situations in airport surface traffic are analyzed and classified. A conflict detection and resolution algorithm is implemented to preserve the recommended separation distance. The simulator has been tested by a deployment case of Mohammed V Airport, international airport involving the use of 70 aircrafts. In the absence of conflict detection and resolution, various conflict situations are identified in the airport. So once the conflict detected and resolution algorithm is used to manage the traffic, 3 prioritization strategies are implemented to the number of delayed aircraft and overall delays are compared. From the results of this prioritization based on time or distance remaining, what is more interesting in the choice of the detection algorithm rather than the minimization of the delay for each given situation? So here are the contents of the presentation. So we'll start by the introduction, then we'll describe the problem and the solutions proposed. Then we will talk about the case study, which is Mohammed V Airport's case, and we'll talk about the modeling of the airport infrastructure, then the routing aircraft models and the proposed models of the algorithm, then the implementation of the algorithm, and we will talk about the development and application of the bidirectional Dijkstra algorithm. Then we will talk about the performance of the test of the Dijkstra algorithm comparison of the performance of the algorithm. Then we will talk about the results in general, and we will have some discussion about it. So in the introduction, we'll just talk about the contents of the air traffic in the whole world and in Morocco and how it progresses. So the Eurocontrol is the service provider. This is the air navigation service provider of Europe and Morocco and Israel. So these are the countries that overhauled by Eurocontrol, and he expected that the traffic will double between 2010 and 2030. Well, that was before the COVID-19 pandemics, so we're not sure about these statistics anymore because you know we had almost a 10% a 10% of progress each year, and now the conditions seem that it will be terrible for the traffic control. And so considering this augmentation anyway, the airports are becoming a crucial bottleneck in the air traffic. So the airport is the most crucial part, which cause delays and cause a lot of latency in the whole air transportation system. So the capacity limited system implies significant congestion, flight delays, and pollution emission. So the problem description. So the airport ground movement problem consists in scheduling the movements of aircraft among airport facilities, solving all conflicts in the most effective way. An arriving aircraft has to be routed from its landing runway to its stand or parking position. And although a departure aircraft had to be routed to its current parking from its current parking position to the departure runway. The ground movements occur in a network of roads called taxiways, which connect airport facilities. So since the taxiways connect the runways and the stands, they become the key resource of the airport taxiing process. We can take, for example, the path of taxiway for a departure aircraft leaving from each gate is predefined, and if there is a conflict with another aircraft traveling at the same taxiway, so one of them in the classical traffic control, one of them has to stop and further wait. So there is no dynamic management strategy that gives the air traffic controller a decision-making tool that will so this kinds of problems in the ground causes delays on departure. What is the proposed solution then? So several research tried to guide air traffic controllers in ground-based decision-making. This research proposed a ground-based decision-making solution for air traffic controllers using an iterative algorithm for modeling the ground movement taxi simulation on Mohammed V Airport in real time using the bidirectional Dijkstra algorithm. So this tool will allow to optimize the paths of the running time between the various zones. It means the stand, the entry, and the exit of the runway, and to choose the best possible trajectories while respecting the safety standards in force at the airport. This tool can be used either by a human agent or by a device agent or by an automatic agent. Let's talk now about the Mohammed V Airport case study. So this is the map. So this is the map of the whole airport. Here the airport of Mohammed V has two runways. It's 3-5 right and 3-5 left. Each one has its unique type of movement. It means that one is used for landing, and the other one is used for takeoff. So the parking of Mohammed V Airport are organized as follows. The main stands, I hope I can just put my fingers on. So the main stance is commercial aircraft with two stand configuration. So there is aircraft that has nose-in configuration. It means that they need an engine tractor to get out of the parking, so they can taxi normally. And the other one, they have engine departure. So I can't unfortunately I can't show you where exactly the stands are which has nose in and nose out, because I need to show it, but we will see that. So Mohammed V Airport description. So in general we can say that, okay, 4 minutes left. Thank you, Mr. Rashid. So we talked about the Mohammed V airport description. Here we can see that we designed two oriented graphs. The first is dedicated to takeoff and the second one is for landing. The purpose of this separation is to better visualize the different paths of each case. We can visualize the graph of takeoff for runway 35 right. There is different colors of nodes according to their utility. The yellow node, for example, is for the runway exit and entry. The blue node is used to describe the holding point or positions, and the green nodes are stands. So this is the takeoff case, and we can see over here the landing case. Great. let's talk about the algorithm, the routing algorithm. So in order to find the shortest path between 2 points of the graph for an A aircraft, we can use a bidirectional Dijkstra algorithm. It uses a classical Dijkstra that simultaneously searches for the source to the destination and from the destination to the source. It will stop when both paths meet and or when a node is scanned both directions. The proposed model, it is necessary to solve an optimization problem. At first, it's important to focus on the management of conflict during ground movement. So the Dijkstra algorithm solves a single source shortest path problem on a weighted direction. The graph G is equal to the weight and the edges, and it was conceived by the computer scientist Edward Dijkstra. So the Dijkstra the Dijkstra search for the fastest than a unidirectional search in many cases. Dijkstra algorithm runs Dijkstra algorithm in both directions, and we can see here the algorithm. Let's see now the results and to have a discussion about the results. This is the most important. So to compare the performance of the bidirectional algorithm with the Dijkstra algorithm presented in this article, first of all, the tests must be performed on the performance of existing algorithms. So in order to test the performance of the Dijkstra algorithm, 160 nodes were defined as the base of and the endpoint in the Python environment in which the Dijkstra algorithm was implemented. The total computation time required to find the path between each node was measured. So approximately 100 to 400 calculations was performed, representing a combination of all base and end nodes. So the figures over here of takeoff and landing, the figure of takeoff and landing illustrate the frequency distribution table at the time of calculation. So as shown in these figures, the Dijkstra algorithm has an average computation time of 43 milliseconds and a uniform distribution from 20 milliseconds to 90 milliseconds. The Dijkstra algorithm has an advantage of obtaining the shortest path with all nodes that were exploited after the path search and taking the shortest path as the destination node. However, given the relation position between the starting node, the destination node, and the search direction, it is appropriate to note that there is an inefficiency in sequential searching for all adjacent nodes from the origin node. Good. So here we can see the aircraft trajectory after searching for the shortest path. For our two aircraft, it is possible to define their trajectories according to their ground movements, landing from runway to stand. And we can talk here about the discussion. So experiments are performed considering the two 160 nodes takeoff and landing shot. Different types of traffic was generated by considering the actual ground track. The criteria of landing and takeoff distance and speed have been softened. After searching for the shortest path for our two aircraft, it is possible to define their trajectories according to their ground movements. And we will just give a short conclusion. So the method proposed in this article makes it possible to calculate the ground movements within the airport. So it is possible thanks to the scheduling algorithm, which is iterative, that is to say it plans the flights one after another. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yassin Davish. Now we pass to the questions. Dear participants, there are some questions to Mr. Yassin Davish. No questions. Mr. Yassin,
Yes, sir.
I give you one question.
Yes.
In the literature, they have some work focused on the same domain.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Why not make a comparison with the existing to valorate your contribution?
There is another algorithm we found in our research that we consider to propose in our next work. It's the A star algorithm, so that we will compare it with this one.
Thank you. Other questions? It's okay. Thank you, Mr. Yassin.
Thanks to you, sir.
We pass now to the next presentation. Mr. Abdullah Al-Wabili.
Yes, sir.
You can start.
Okay. Just let me share. So, do you see my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yes, it's okay.
Yes, it's good. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Abdullah Al-Wabli. I am a PhD student on electrical engineering in Florida Institute of Technology, United States. So today I'm going to present about my paper topic is about a static route optimization for waste collection in Mecca City. The table of contents, introduction, problem statement, literature review, methodology, implementation, results, conclusion. Okay, so what is the waste collection is a key component of the municipal service to the community within the urban setup as outlined in the paper. Static route optimization is implemented by adopting the traveling salesman problem with the Hamiltonian path to enhance the development of a cost-effective route. So here the overview, the waste collection constitutes a vital part of waste management. It entails the collection of waste from production points such as residential, commercial, and construction areas to disposal or treatment sites. Waste collection is a sensitive issue to public health, and it has operational costs. An increase in population means more solid waste, which consequently requires more bins and container collectors. Waste collection remains an issue for Internet of Things, IoT, and smart city for various reasons. The first one, traffic issue, where many vehicles slow down the waste transport. The second, high cost of fuel, which make it expensive to transport frequent in a day. The last one, vehicle maintenance cost, which leads to frequent breakdown of trucks. Problem statement. So the city doesn't have a convenient location for placing its waste bins. The disorder doesn't only waste time, but increase the fuel cost of moving around to fill the truck. A traffic jam is an issue that slows vehicle transporters, and the integrated algorithm is to unravel the mysteries of waste collection routing issue by directing truck collectors to pick the trash at the various routes just in time. All right, I have here some previous work for the literature review. So the author in one confirmed the positive association between human populations and generated solid waste. She stresses the rising volume of complicated solid waste, claiming that the world produces an estimated 1.6 billion tons of waste per year. According to waste collection exists in a three classified group as designed by golden, residential, commercial, and roll or roll off. The author entry asserts in his study that an arc road problem can arise in scenarios where there are multiple locations for the waste collection for the collection of residential waste. The author M4 asserts that in node routing problems, the primary objectives are usually the collection of waste within an urban area from one point to another. Study by 5 overs insight into the static waste collection routing problem by revealing that waste bins are incorporated with activators and level sensors. Okay, methodology. So this section discusses the methods to be used in developing the route optimization model to facilitate garbage collection. So the methodology will be tested in the example of Al Awali district, Mecca city in Saudi Arabia. So the study adopts route optimization technological strategies to help build the shortest route network that could enhance efficiency of garbage collection. Traveling salesman problem. So the traveling salesman problem is one of the most extensively studied optimization problem. So the traveling salesman aims at finding the shortest Hamiltonian cycle in a graph. And here is the formulation of traveling salesman problem. Okay, Hamiltonian path. So we're going to use traveling salesman with the Hamiltonian path. So the Hamiltonian path expresses a path that is either a consequent of directed and or undirected graph. The Hamiltonian path doesn't end to a point it begins. So here is the illustration of the traveling salesman with Hamiltonian path. So the track starts from depot and must visit all the bins once, and then after that end at deliver point. So here is the flowchart representation of the Hamiltonian path procedure that is used to find solution of traveling salesman. So first step, they're going to start from depot, then in the process move to the next node using a valid edge. Then the first decision, have all the nodes been visited? If yes, then into deliver. If no, they will go to the second decision. Is it possible to reach a node that has not been visited? If no, they will backtrack to the previous node. If yes, then they will go to the first process. Okay, now nearest neighbor algorithm. So the nearest neighbor algorithm, this is the algorithm what I used. So the nearest neighbor algorithm is one of the most popular algorithms to solve traveling salesman problem with the Hamiltonian path. So here is the flowchart representation of the nearest neighbor algorithm procedure that is used to find the solution of TSP. So here they're going to start from depot, then the first process list of all nodes, then the first decision reach last node. If yes, then go to the second decision. If no, go to the next node. Then and the second decision, does current value less than previous? If yes, they will go to the second process. If no, they will go again to the next node. Here and the second process connect current node to the nearest unvisited node. Then mark current node as a visited. Then final decision, all node visited. If yes, into deliver. If no, they will go to the next node. Implementation. This section presents how the implementation of route optimization would be made. A static route optimization will be a key focus. So the objective for the problem is establishing a path that adheres to 3 constraints. So I have 3 constraints in this problem. So the first one, the track visits all stops and should not leave any stop or client point unvisited. The second one, the track visits each stop point once, so must visit only one time, not repeated. And the last one, the distance that the track covers while visiting each stop from the depot should be the minimum, which is to find a shortest path. Okay, map of the study area. So the case study area is Al Awali district, Mecca city in Saudi Arabia. So the city is densely populated and waste management is an important issue. and Mecca city is a place with a prime significance to the Islamic world, as it's regarded as most sacred due to Holy Kaaba, and the city hosts the pilgrims, and it is frequented by over 3 million people from across the world for religious reasons. So here is the map of Mecca city, and here is the Al Awali district. So I choose Al Awali district because I live there, and also it is one of the famous district in Mecca because it is close of the main university in Mecca. It's called Al Qura. I think you all know about Al Qura University. Okay, data collection process. So I have here 4 steps of a data collection. So the process involves marking point of the bins using the geographic information system to establish coordinates for both latitude and longitude. In this case, I have 52 points were selected, including the depot, delivery, and their coordinates collected. And the map helps reveals how each point is linked with the depot and the delivery point in terms of distance. And the information was obtained through the Google search after marking route and collection stops across the Al Awali district. And here is the map of Al Awali district, and there is all the 52 bins. Here is the delivery, here is the depot point, and here is the delivery point, and here is all the 50 bins. All right, data analysis. So the data obtained from the coordinates of each node was later converted into 52 by 52 matrix, and the coordinates indicate the distance between one node to the other, and the coordinates are then measured using Google Map to help establish the shortest path with improved accuracy. So here is the matrix of 52 by 52. And this value is the distance between each node. So here the result. This graph is show all possible of each node, and this is called graph theory. And I have here 3 important information for the result. So one truck moving at a given time towards a given direction while noting that all points are being visited once at a time, leaving no client behind. And all the 52 points are mapped out through the district area, and distance from one node to the other is established through the coordinates to route out the optimal path. Okay, now here is the in diagram here showing latitude and longitude coordinates for each client node in MATLAB software. So here is the number 1, it's a depot point, and the 52 is the delivery point. So the truck begins from the depot point, that is node 1, and ends at delivery point, that is node 52. Okay. So here on the left figure, after run the code in MATLAB, so they show me here is the coordinate of 52 points, and here is the show me the shortest path of all the 50. So here is the constraint, start from 1 and end on 52. So the shortest length here is 56.38 miles, and in the right one here is the show me the path, how the truck empty all bins and start from depot and end to delivery point and visit all bins one time, no repeat. So here I have here 2 equations. I have here a fuel cost is equal distance multiply gas per fuel price divided by fuel efficiency, and I have time is equal distance divided by average speed. So in this table, I have parameters, some parameters. So I have here in the parameter, the number of stops, it's 51, and number of the truck, I just use only 1 truck. And the estimate fuel efficiency is 4.4 miles. So this fuel efficiency, this number is approximately like constant. So gas per fuel price is $0.47 per gallon. So this price is in my country, and the distance is 26.38 miles, which is from here. And the fuel cost is going to be $6.02. So this is the total cost of the trip. It's cost $6.02. And the estimate average speed, it's 25 miles per hour. This is because inside the city. And the estimate time, so the total time, it's approximately take 2 hours and 15 minutes. And here is the conclusion. And here's the references. And thank you very much. I hope you understand my paper. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. El-Wabili. Now we pass to the questions. Dear participants, there are some questions to Mr. El-Wabili. No question? I give you a question, Mr. El-Wabili. In the beginning of your presentation, some researchers which work in the same domain are mentioned. Now my question is, what the position of your contribution by comparing to other existing approaches in literature?
Okay, so this is it was my proposal. This is for static. So this is phase 1. So the next phase 2, I'm going to use the same data with a dynamic route optimization. Then I will go to more advanced to do like I don't need to empty all bins. I need to use the sensors for some bins because it costs high because sometimes the house or I'm gonna use sensors I don't need to empty the bins that is not the level of trash is not go over 75%. So this is my plans on the PhD program.
It's okay. Other questions?
I have one question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Other questions?
Yes, I have one question.
Yes.
I'm wondering why did you choose the traveling salesman problem and not the vehicle routing problem? I think you have many vehicles, right?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I discussed with my advisor, and he said to me, I need 50 bins. I said it's too low, 50 bins. It's like, and he said he want the optimization. So the next step on the dynamic, I will use a vehicle routing problem. I will use the 2 vehicles because it's only 50 bins. I cannot use more than if I have 1,000, maybe I can use 10. So in the traveling salesman problem, I use it in this section because this is static. Like this is as a primary topic. But in the next step, in the dynamic section, so I will use a vehicle routing problem, a VRP, and I will use genetic algorithms and anti-clonal algorithms and also tabu search algorithms.
It's okay, Mr. El-Wabili. It's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your answers. We pass now to the 4th presentation. Ms. Khawla Asmi, are you here? Khawla Asmi. Khawla Asmi, are you here? Ishraq Khulqi.
Yes, sir.
Can you start your presentation?
Okay. So thank you, dear Professor Rashid Al-Ayashi. So good afternoon. Today we will introduce you techniques for segmentation and classification of cervical cancer. And to do this, we will proceed with the following outlines. We begin with introduction, then cervix MRI images, the proposed approaches, experimental results, and finally conclusion. So cervical cancer or uterine cancer is the most prevalent cancer that affects women all over the world after the breast cancer, especially in poor countries. So early detection and treatment of uterine cancer could decline the mortality rate. Thus the need to produce effective and reliable early detection methods. Therefore, our work is interested in developing a tool to assess in the diagnosis and early detection of cervical cancer, based on the interpretation of MRI images of the cervix. Now we move to the cervix MRI images, or magnetic resonance imaging is an examination that provides 2 or 3-dimensional views of the interior of the body. MRI is used when treating cervical cancer because it evaluates tumor morphology and local extent and extracting tumor features. The MRI accuracy values for determining tumor stage range from 75 to 96%. In this work, our aim is to increase the chances of detecting cervical cancer in early stages. So we proposed an automatic early cervical cancer detection based on MRI images, analysis, and interpretation, using MRI of the pelvic part and employing 2 different sections, axial and sagittal, that allows us to better visualize the lesion in order to detect the region of interest and measure it to determine the pathological stage by using the classification of the International Federation of Gynecology Obstetrics. So our work takes place in 3 steps. First, pre-processing, in order to improve the quality of MRI images by eliminating the noise and enhancing the borders of structure and tissues. Second, segmentation, which consists to extract the region of interest and spread the region of cancer. Third, classification, in which we classify the extracted ROIs using inferences rules obtained from the International Federation of Gynecology Obstetrics. As we know that MRI images of the pelvic part are altered by Gaussian noise and other factors during MRI imaging, such as the influence of contrast, temperature, and the problems in the MRI machines that influence the capturing of images by a fuzzy that affect the visualization of the pelvis. To fix this, we have used the Cummings clustering algorithm in the pre-treatment step, and it gives a good enhancement and improvement of the visual quality of MRI cervix images. The different structures of the pelvis are more contrasted and the borders of neighboring structure are clear. Also, it allows to remove noise and it respects the edges. So the figure below represents the results obtained by the pre-processing step for the 2 different sections, axial and sagittal. As we see that the different areas of the images are more enhanced and clear. After the improvement of the quality of the image, the next step is segmentation, which is the most critical task of image analysis. It consists into partitioning an image into multiple regions. It is used to detect and locate objects and boundaries. So the aim of segmentation is to make the representation of an image significant and easy to be analyzed. In our work, we were based on the region drawing method, which is introduced by Zucker. The idea of this technique is from a set of initial points, it aggregates the pixels according to a double criterion, homogeneity and adjacence. This aggregation is controlled by a predicate. The steps through which this algorithm passes are as follows. First, initialization. It consists in determining the seed points and indicates the first region. Second, iterative process. This is an iterative process of forming the desired region gradually by adding points if they respect the predicate. The agglomeration condition is the measure of the similarity between the candidate point and the segmented region. And finally, convergence or stop criteria, which is achieved after a finite number of iterations. The growth process can stop in 2 scenarios. First, all regions satisfy the predicate, and segmentation includes n regions. Second, there are n-1 regions that verify the predicate. Then N region includes points that don't verify the predicate. So this is the results obtained in the segmentation step for the two different sections, axial and sagittal, as we see that the region of interest are extracted with high precision. So now we move to the classification step of the cervical cancer, and in this step we were based on the inferences rules extracted from FIGO classification and the measurement of the female genitalia in the normal case. The FIGO classification determines the clinical stage by employing the results of physical exams, biopsies, imaging tests. This combination provides information on the different pathological stages of cervical cancer by measuring the tumor along the largest axis. So the figure below represents the algorithm of the inferences rules obtained by the combination cited above. For example, if the distance is less than 7 mm, then it belongs to stage 1A. If the distance is higher than 7 mm and less than 15 mm, then it belongs to stage 1B. In this section, we evaluate our proposed approach of segmentation by using a matrix of evaluation like DICE and SSIM between the segmented image and the ground truth. The table below represents the obtained values. For example, in the first experiment for SSIM, we have 09607, and for DICE, it was 08414. If we see that all of these values obtained for all of these experiments are close to 1, which means a better segmentation. Then the following table represents the pathological stage of each experiment. For example, for experiment 1, by using the proposed approach in the step of pre-treatment and the step of segmentation, it belongs to stage 2. For example, for experiment 3, it belongs to stage 1B. To conclude our work, which allows us to treat a type of cancer that is treating women all over the world, we propose a computer-aided diagnostic system to pre-treat, segment, and classify the MRI images of the pelvic part. This system shows a high accuracy as demonstrated by the values obtained from the metrics of evaluation. In the future work, we intend to reinforce our segmentation approaches in order to ameliorate the obtained results. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ishraq Khulqi, for the respect of time. Now we pass to the questions.
Yes, Mr. Rashid, I have a question.
Okay, you can give your question.
Thank you, Mrs. Ishraq, for this presentation. You clearly presented your work. You used clustering techniques to segment and detect cervical cancer. Yes. So my question is, what metrics you use to evaluate or to assess the quality of segmentation?
The metrics are SSIM and the DICE. There are two metrics. SSIM structural similarity index that measure the difference between the segmented image, image automatically, and the ground truth image or the image that is segmented manually.
Okay.
Thank you. Other questions?
Thank you.
Yes. I have a question.
Yes, okay, Mr. Bouskir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Ishraq, for this presentation about MRI processing. So the question is, what is the sequence of MRI image using to validate your approach? Because there are around seconds, yes, and which is slices, yeah.
So we have used MRI images in the ponderation T2. As we see that in the when we have researched a database, we didn't found any database that treats cervical cancer. So we were based on some images that is collection from Google, from other researchers. We don't have any database to.
Good. And we know that the MRI images, there are several, it's in 3D dimensional. So you have to test the three slices of the image.
Yes, I hope so that if we have a database, we can test them. But the problem is that the limited of database.
Good. And the last remarks is about the skull stripping, or to eliminate. Do you have applicate an algorithm to eliminate the non-interesting regions, to just processing the region of your region of interest?
No, we have used just cameras just to enhance and to make borders between the areas of the pelvic parts.
The full image. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Guskir. Thank you. Other questions? Other questions? For me, I have one question, Mrs. Ishraq.
Yes, sir.
Can you share with us your 11 slide? Slide number 11.
Okay.
Yes. In your algorithm, you are used two value, 7 millimeter and 15 millimeter.
And we have also 20 millimeter.
Why do you what's the origin of choice? This value.
So as we see that we combined the classification International Federation of Gynecology Obstetrics and the measurement of the female genitalia in the normal case. So we see the measurement of the different parts of the female genitalia, and if they have which is greater than the normal in the normal case, then we calculate this value. For example, if they dépassent, si ils dépassent la limite dans le cas normal, donc on calcule cette différence à partir de la classification internationale de gynécologie obstétrique.
Thank you.
Yeah,
the last presentation. Mrs. Khawla Asmi.
Yes, I'm here. Could you hear me?
Yes, oui. Can you start your presentation?
Thank you.
Khawla, please share your desktop and start your presentation.
I'm sharing it.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Hello everybody, I'm Khawla Asmi. I will present my work about dissimilarity measure for community discovery in dynamic networks. So there exists, I'm sorry, I will do not this one, but I shared the folder. there exists many complex network in the real world, such as internet network, collaboration network, protein network, etc. In this study, we will focus on real world social networks. The increasing use of social network sites induce a huge amount of important data, and then we have the problem of dealing with such quantity of data. Graph theory has proved to be an efficient tool for modeling this complex network, where nodes represent the element of the network and the edges are the interaction between these elements. So community detection have many applications, such as the recommendation system, network, detection of influence, and the nodes allow producing effective community detection algorithm. So the problem is, given a network, how to decompose it into a known number of group of nodes that correspond to the topological arrangement of the network. As time goes by, the network evolves and elements leave the network while newcomers join it. Thereafter, communities change over time. For example, we have two communities at the first time step. A new element D join the community blue in the next time step, and in the time step number 3, new community is created, while in the last time step we have joined two community, the blue and the orange one. And this consecutive change of community indicate the importance of studying the evolution of community in social network. So many methods have been proposed to resolve the problem of dynamic community detection, such as OLCPM, DynMoga, LDMGA, and ESPRA, etc. The advantage of this method is the good quality and the accuracy and the stability of the results. But the drawback of this method is there's a high time complexity, which don't allow their use for the large instance of social network. So we have drawn the conclusion that there exists a wide variety of traditional algorithms designed for community detection, but their use for dynamic community detection is not desirable because of the problem of instability. So we have used our method of dissimilarity measure for dynamic community detection. And our method is based on the suppression of inter-community link, like the link between V and V. So between the evolution, I'm sorry, the most important evolution events are the birth and death, or the expansion and the contraction, or the merge and split. In the birth, new communities are created. In the dead, communities are removed from the network. In the expansion, which is in which event the community grows, while in the contraction event, the nodes leave the community. For the last one, the merge and the split, for the merging event, many community could be merged, but while in the split event, one community could be decomposed into two or more communities. So our algorithm is composed of three main phases: the selection of inter-community edges, the separation of the selected edges in order to find preliminary communities, and finally merging the initial community to improve the quality of the resulted community. So we have used two measures. The first one is the similarity measure, in which we compute the similarity between two nodes by the number of common neighbors, and the clustering coefficient, which is defined by the ratio between the number of closed triplets, the triangles, and the number of triplets existing in the graph. So our goal is to find the edges that tend to connect to community and then remove them from the graph. So therefore we have defined a new measure L is that describe the number of link between the neighbors of a node Vi. So let G be an unweighted graph, E the set of edges and V the set of vertices. We defined our measure in the equation number 3, and we have found that the sum of this measure for all the nodes existing in the graph is equal to 3 times the number of triangle existing in the graph. So the proposed dissimilarity measure, we have drawn a lemma in which we say that let G be an undirected unweighted graph. The nodes of an edge E existing between two communities are characterized by a low number of common neighbors and a high value of the measure L. So hence, the extraction of link with a large value of W corresponds to the identification of inter-community links. So the detailed algorithm, we can see the similarity between the nodes of each edge. We compute the density of a graph in order to select the fraction of links to be processed, and then we compute the weight for the selected edges. The next step is the inter-community edge deletion, in which we select the preliminary community by removing iteratively the edges with high weight. And finally, the merging phase. In the merging phase, we want to have more quality. Therefore, we reconnect the last deleted edge of each induced subgraph G prime when the modularity value increase. The modularity is a quality measure used in the community detection files, and we compute in the case of two separated community the modularity Q1 and Q2, and when we merge, we compute Q3. If Q3 is greater than Q1 plus Q2, then we do the merging of community. We have in the experimentation we have used synthetic and real network. For synthetic we have 3 synthetic network. In the real world network we have used cell phone and MA1 dataset. For cell phone we know already the ground truth communities, but in MA1 we use only the modularity measure to evaluate the quality. So the evaluation metric, we have modularity and the modularity, which is a measure of quality of the partition, and the normalized mutual information, which measure the accuracy of community detection algorithm with the respect to the ground truth. So for the first synthetic data set, bird and dead, we have studied several events: the bird and death, the expansion and the contraction, the intermittent of community. It means that community are hidden with respect to the first time step, and the merge and splitting that we have. I'm sorry. So for the first synthetic network, we have compared our method with the DynMoga and ESPRA method. ESPRA methods, which are well-known method for dynamic community detection, and we have used the normalized mutual information because we know already the ground truth community. So for the first dataset of bird and dead, our method gives a very competitive results of accuracy. For this, in the figure D, we mentioned the synthetic dataset of expansion and contraction, and we compare also with DynMoga and ESPRA method. So the values of normalized mutual information of our method are greater for the 3 first time step, and for the 2 last they are very competitive. For the dataset of merging and splitting, our method provides more accuracy compared with the 2 others algorithm of dynamic community detection. And for the last one, the intermittent community, ESPRA provide more accuracy. For the second synthetic network, we have SynFix and SynVar. For the SynFix synthetic network, we use Z value that present the edges connecting the nodes outside the community, and 3 nodes are randomly chosen from each community and affected into the other community at each time step. For the SynVar, we have A nodes are chosen from each community, and new community is generated with this node for the first 5 time steps, and the node return to the original community in the last 5 time steps. So we compare also our method with DynMoga and ESPRA by using the normalized mutual information, because we know already the ground truth, and we can show that all the methods provide good accuracy when the value of Z equal to 3, but when we increase the value of Z, the accuracy of our method and ESPRA are greater than DynMoga. And for the SynVar dataset, either with Z equal 3 or Z equal 5, our method provide more accuracy compared with DynMoga and ESPRA algorithm. Let's now move to the real networks. For the email on-run network, we have used the modularity because we don't know the ground truth, and we want to quantify the quality of communities, and the greater value of modularity explain high quality of communities. So in this data set, we have 12 time steps, and our method and DynMoga provide very competitive values of modularity, but ESPRA failed to give good value of modularity in this real world dataset. The second real-world dataset that we use is the cell phone dataset, in which we have 8 time steps, and we compare our method by using the normalized mutual information, because we know the ground truth communities, and we can show that our method extracts exactly the ground truth communities. However, the 2 others methods fail to give a good value of normalized mutual information in the cell phone dataset. So as a conclusion, we have proposed an approach based on dissimilarity measure, allowing a better identification of dynamic communities. Our algorithm offers more precision compared to the state of the art, and the execution time is very reduced compared to the algorithm for detecting dynamic communities. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mrs. Khawla. Now we pass to the questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
Dear participants, do you have some questions, Khawla? No question? I have a question, Mrs. Khawla.
Yes.
I give you one. At the end of your presentation, you give some results which compare your proposed approaches to other approaches existing in the literature.
Yes.
Now, my question is, what are the disadvantages for your approaches, for your approach?
The disadvantages of our approach.
Yes.
I don't find the disadvantage of our approach. Until now, I don't have any disadvantages, because it provides a very competitive result with the state of the art, and the execution time is very reduced comparing with the state of the art.
It's okay. There are other questions?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What is your complexity?
linear complexity. Because I have already published this method in a journal. Therefore, I don't speak in the presentation on the complexity, because if you want details, you could have the link of the journal and view the complexity of this method. I in this contribution just for proving that our algorithm work well in the dynamic community detection.
But for demonstrate it work well, we take in consideration the complexity and the time, complexity in space and the complexity in time.
Yes. Our complexity is linear and is proved in another in the journal version of the method.
Can you do you have a pseudocode?
Pseudocode?
Yes, of algorithm, just algorithm.
The pseudocode is in the presentation, in the paper that I because my method is composed of 3 phases. So I will present you. Sorry, I will look up for the.
It's okay, thank you. You can continue the discussion after.
Okay.
Before closing this session, I want to thank the presenter for sharing their contribution. Also, I want to thank the participant for the presence. Thank you. We close the session.
Thank you.